Hi, everybody. Welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed, the television edition for Wednesday, the 25th, I believe, April 25th.
The 25th.
It is the 25th of April, 2012. To my left, as usual, although he wasn't here last week, Mr. Chris Rose.
Hello. Sorry I missed you last week.
And to our right, for the first time here on the show, the Honorable Gary S. Hopper.
No.
I was waiting for you to deny your honorability.
I was just admiring my tie. But the thing is, if you look at it real close, it looks like it's got stains, but it's not stains. It's supposed to look like it's an antique looking.
Oh, really?
But then I look at it closer, it looks like I just spilled coffee all over the freaking thing.
Oh, I was going to say, perhaps it's the stains of patriotism.
No, it's coffee.
Oh, okay. Oh.
There's a difference.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Okay, right here. So, is that stains or is that supposed to be like that? I don't remember anymore.
It looks like it's the worn out flag, like it's the flag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then
Oh, very good.
blends into the eaglets at the
Looks
bottom.
like coffee to me. Anyway,
It does.
so yeah.
So
Sorry to argue. I'm kind of
What's that?
confrontational.
Go. We have to get closer.
We mean emotionally?
Everybody move.
Yeah.
Everybody move in.
I'll tell you a story.
All right. Here we
I'll
go.
bring you to tears.
How's that, Glenn R.J. Willett? Oh, we got to close this door.
Okay.
Wow.
We're
Wow. This is getting really personal.
I know, right?
Hello.
This is
Hi.
live
Is that a mic in my face? Or you're just happy to see me?
live television, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Thank you, Glenn R.J. Willett.
Thank you, Glenn.
And Glenn R.J. Willett is also with us, of course, as always, the owner and proprietor of QCE News, QCEnews.com. And Gary, of course, Gary and I do Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades Wednesday nights at 6 p.m., which you can watch here on IPMNation.com. And
Now, is this live right now?
This is
Like when I go to Rock Paper Hand Grenades, that's the thing that's up in the corner that's live.
well, you'll see this if you were to go to Matt Connarton Unleashed, you'll see that.
Oh, okay.
And it
So you're unleashed. Does that mean you like gnaw through things to get unleashed? How is the unleashed? Who?
well, that's how
Who's the more? I mean the person that I'm.
well, that's it's actually
'Cause if you're-
government
You've
mandated that I
unleashed the beast.
yes
Yeah.
He does that every time he opens up his shirt. I mean, look at that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
I am extremely hairy.
Yeah.
I'm like one of those what do you call them, Italians.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I start my day.
I'm like one of those children.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're
I got
hairless.
nothing
Yeah.
Almost completely.
Really?
Yeah.
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 Well, that has advantages, especially in the summer.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
is good. How about you, Chris?
A little bit of hair.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good that we got that out of the way.
Prepubescent, I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
pretty
Well, that's
close,
exciting.
huh?
Soon
Yeah.
your voice will change.
I hope so.
So.
Yeah.
I hope it goes lower than this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
Bingo.
So I've invited Gary. I've told him he had an open invitation, and this week he took us up on it. And
Why did I take it up on it?
I don't know, why did you?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm glad you did, but why this week? What's special about this week? What was it that made this week the week that made you say yes? I'm gonna
I don't
do
think I
this.
said it quite like that.
We look like we're at a kitchen
I
table.
think it
you
was more
notice it?
like, yeah, what the hell? I think that's
No,
What was
no,
it?
it was all right as long as you quit bugging me about it.
That actually is what it was. That is what you said. That is what you
See,
said.
that
Yes.
was it.
Yes.
Okay.
So here we are.
Because I'm a pretty hot item actually
Yes.
in the
Yes.
circles that I run in.
Yes, you are. You're a self-proclaimed a troublemaker in the
Genius, genius,
and genius,
genius.
and
Genius.
inventor,
inventor, genius.
genius inventor.
I invented something.
Invention.
Adventurous, an adventurous.
You have
That probably
adventures.
sounds female, doesn't it?
Yeah, it actually
It
does. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't want to use that.
No.
No, the viewers might not know I invented something because I'm trying to always. I'm kind of like a green nut and thinking of ecology, and we get all these cars going back and forth on the road, and I think the thing is to step it up,
Mhm.
get them in the air, and one of the most aerodynamic entities in nature is a gerbil. Really, if you look at the front, the way the air flows around the back because it's rounded and stuff like that.
Yes.
So you take a gerbil and you blow it up
Mhm.
until it's and you have the basket underneath and you end up with a dirigible.
Yes.
Yes. So I get that on my Facebook.
Mhm.
If people want to become my friend on Facebook, I get a picture. If you look in all of my files, I got a dirigible.
which is good in these times when gas is so expensive. And we
Yeah,
need
the other ecology, because I'm really into the ecology, is a.
Why is
I-
that? You're a Republican.
I know, but I'm always trying to save the whales. And
No, that's
so
good. Yeah.
so the other one is the that I invented a while ago and hasn't gotten a lot of traction.
Mhm.
But you know the percentage of diapers that go into the landfills, and they're really difficult to dissolve and stuff like that, or to break down over time. So I invented flammable Pampers.
Ooh.
So you put them on the baby, keep them away from sparks or lit cigarettes and stuff.
Which you should do anyway.
Which you should do anyway.
Just a rule of thumb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rule of thumb. And
Mhm.
then once they soil themselves, that actually creates a chemical reaction and makes that quite flammable.
Hmm.
So you can use it to actually heat your house.
That's fantastic.
While they're still in it?
yes.
Or you take it off.
You're probably supposed to take it off.
Okay.
I haven't gotten into the details. I tried. I'm like it's
'Cause you
bang
could-
bang. I'm coming up with
You
ideas.
can
Yeah.
that
kill
can't
two
work
birds
out.
with one stone
I
and
can't-
feed the hungry as well. When you light your baby
You're
on
a
fire.
sick, twisted son of a.
Oh my goodness.
He is.
My goodness.
Do they eat that in Malaysia too? Anyway.
This show is huge in Venezuela, actually.
Oh, Venezuela.
Apparently Nigeria.
Hugo Chavez is probably watching us right now. If he's still alive.
Yeah, you never
Yes.
know.
He's very sick.
Yeah, you get the Secret Service might have been down there with their hookers and stuff. doing
Yes.
something wrong.
Hookers and blow.
Yeah,
That's
hooker-
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are
You can't.
things-
You can't get enough. That's what we say up in Connarton. You can't get enough hookers and blow.
Yes.
It's
yes.
this common refrain that we hear up there.
I believe that is the motto of Columbia, anyway.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And in Concord. Wow, I had no idea.
No.
I had no idea. Wow.
Well, the thing is, I was talking to Rick Santorum when he was up here.
yes,
'Cause
yes.
he's the one I supported.
Mhm.
The poor. That's probably why he failed. Anyway, he was asking me about because the legislature. A lot of people don't know. Thank a legislator today. If the viewers.
Hmm.
I mean, we make $100 a year, and so thank the legislator when you get a chance. But anyway, the thing I was telling him, he says, we were talking about mental health issues,
Hmm.
and I said, New Hampshire has a very unique way to deal with the mentally ill. Is we take them, put suits on them, and put them into the house, New Hampshire house.
Oh,
It gets them off the street.
yeah.
They feel like they have a purpose. They don't really, but
Right.
they feel like they have a purpose. So there's 400 slots.
Hmm.
So there's people who can get up and speak and stuff like that and pretend they're important. And so you get 400 people. You get 400 people that would normally be on the streets panhandling
Right.
in the New Hampshire House in suits.
Is that why the House is so big? Because the New Hampshire state legislature is quite large.
Yeah, it's very huge. I think it's the second or third legislature as far as size in the world.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So that's a lot of crazy people.
That
there's
is.
a lot of
A lot of
crazy
people making laws but can't tie their shoes.
Yes.
Right,
Mm.
right.
My
And still
goodness.
drooling.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of drooling.
Oh, really?
Oh,
That-
it's pretty bad.
that's
The
gross.
janitorial staff must make a fortune.
Yes,
Oh my
they
goodness.
do. They do. But hey,
oh,
it's a living. No, it isn't actually.
no. I mean,
No,
$100 a
no,
year is
yeah.
really not a living.
But you got to think. I mean, if you don't believe me, okay, you think about that. People have to run for state office for state rep. It costs them at least, depends on the district, but $1,000 to run for seat. That you get paid $100 a
Mm.
year. Okay, so you're out $800 over 2 years. Does that make sense?
No.
No.
But-
No, but it does to those, I guess, who sit in the legislature because they're crazy.
Huh?
That's right. That's what I'm saying. That's evident. And the other thing that's odd is you got to look at it this way too. Is that you're paying somebody $200 a year to control the finances of the entire state. So
Mm.
obviously they don't have much judgment, or they wouldn't be spending $1,000 for a $100 a year seat. And now you're giving them the purse strings.
Mm-hmm.
How much sense does that
And they could give themselves a raise.
No, we can't.
No?
No, it's unconstitutional.
Ooh.
Oh,
And
It
there's
is.
the rub.
It is written into the New Hampshire Constitution in the late 1800s so that the legislators couldn't start perpetually giving themselves raises like they do in Washington D.C.
Yes.
The Constitution says you can get compensated for mileage, and it's $100 or $200 for a 2-year term. Period.
Wow.
And that was set in the late 1800s, and $200 back then was basically an average person's 6-month salary.
Yeah.
So that's what that was based on, and that's never gone up, and it's not. And there's been attempts to that's one of the things I did that aggravated people when I was first in. Is there was an attempt to kind of circumvent it by giving us an outrageous amount of money for mileage.
Really?
Okay, and I was one of the people that actually had to work for a living as a tool maker and be in the legislature, which is tiring to say the least.
Yeah.
And so there was a bill to increase that. I forget, this is back in like 201, like 70 cents a mile or something like that, which at that time when gas was like $1 a gallon or something like that, that's ridiculous amount of money for a mileage.
Yeah.
And so I'm just a pain in the butt. And it was coming up, and it was going to go right in. It was going to go right through the legislature, and roll call.
Yeah.
I made a lot of people angry.
I bet. So you voted against it?
Oh yeah.
Did anyone else vote against it?
Well, once it was roll call, they did.
Yeah.
If they could have got by on a voice vote, it wouldn't have.
Yeah.
It would have made it.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow. So I want to ask you, Gary, because we
Is this
talked.
sexual? Because I don't want to go there.
No, I mean, I think you kind of already said your piece regarding that before we got on. You revealed enough for one evening, so we won't.
Of my trisexuality.
No, the other thing, which was really weird.
Go into
we'll leave that alone.
I'm still getting the image out of my head.
Yeah, it's a lot to process. So we'll let the viewers wonder.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you.
I don't believe I said that, but anyway, go ahead.
Oh, I know. Yeah. But although it'd look interesting on a campaign poster, wouldn't it? But
is that legal?
To put that on a campaign
Yeah,
poster?
I don't think that's legal. That would be.
I think it's indecent. I don't think it's illegal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a difference.
Yeah.
It's art.
Oh, there you go. It's art. Yes, you can't censor art.
That's true.
Anyway,
but we were talking back at TV23 about why you got into politics. What inspired you to get into politics?
Reality, or you want the truth?
Well,
or are we gonna?
Well, which is better? Which is more entertaining? I think of me as a Geraldo Rivera. I'm not necessarily in it for the journalism. I'm in it for the
shock value.
Yeah, I'm in it for whatever it is that there's no journalistic integrity here.
Oh, good.
So
good.
I mean, granted,
if I had thought there was, I wouldn't have showed up anyway.
Right. Exactly. I just need the.
Actually, okay. I'll actually be honest for once.
Okay.
And that's really tough for a politician.
I know.
Yes. It's just not something that comes natural.
Yes.
What got me into politics is over the years I've seen a systematic abuse, particularly on the federal level of power by the government. In the 80s, I was a rebellious kid. If you go on my Facebook, like I was telling Matt earlier, I get a picture of me with my hair down past almost to my shoulders, all curly and wicked cute. That's why I never went over the edge and went into prison. That was too cute.
Oh yeah.
They would have. I'm saying. Oh yeah, that would have been a bad thing.
They would have liked you.
Yeah, they would have loved me. Anyway, so anyway, I was always a rebellious kid, and didn't matter what it was. It didn't matter what a teacher said. I wanted to find the opposite. So I was always rebellious. And anyway, so I was following politics kind of marginally. I think, when you're chasing girls, politics is so secondary that, if you're dating a girl and she's a liberal, you go, yeah, I'm liberal. The next
you
one's
make
concessions.
concessions.
Oh,
right.
Yes. Your fundamental beliefs go out the window depending on what she is attracted to.
Yes.
So chasing girls was the first part of my life, and then I got married, and I wasn't able to do that anymore. So I started also once you have kids, it really seriously changes your attitude.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Because now it's not, well, what's in it for me? Now it's like, wait a second, my children have to grow up in this.
Right.
You know, what's in it for, you know, what's going to be the logical consequence of this action if I don't do something, or if I don't intervene, or if I don't get involved. You know, before, if you know, if you're single, you can look at your life and say, well, I'm making pretty good money. You know, I started out as a tool maker,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a really comfortable living if you're good at it, and and that's kind of all I cared about. I was getting a trade, and I was learning a trade, and I was good.
Yeah.
And then you have kids, and it's like, wow. And I started paying attention. And I think one of the first huge events I noticed in the news was called Ruby Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that?
Matt was actually describing or telling me about it earlier. We were actually looking online.
Oh, so you already know more about it than I do. So basically, so
about 20 minutes ago, no.
yeah, we'll go back to then.
Yeah.
So, fundamentally, what happened in Ruby Ridge, and I forget what do you looked at online? What state it was? Was it
Idaho.
Kansas or something, or Kentucky?
I think it was Idaho.
Idaho, same thing. Somebody's from Idaho over there. It isn't the same thing, damn it!
No,
So, son of a, I'm gonna kill him.
There goes all those sponsors I had lined up in
Yeah,
Idaho.
I know. So,
Oh,
Great.
all of them.
right, I ruined that. And so, anyway, Idaho. So, basically, back up in the mountains, there was a group of white supremacists that the FBI and or the BAD F, as they call it, or Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. I think they were in cahoots on this. They were trying to basically infiltrate that group and get more information
Mhm.
on this white supremacist group. And what's the guy's name?
Randy Weaver.
Randy Weaver. Randy Weaver was approached by the Bad F, and they're undercover and stuff like that. And in effect, they said, you know, we really need, you know, they wanted a sawed-off shotgun. Okay? And then they said, can you cut it off for us? They gave him the shotgun. They wanted him to hack it off for him.
Okay.
And he didn't want anything to do with it. I mean,
Why him? Why did they approach him to?
because he was tangentially associated with the group. I don't think he wasn't in the group,
Okay.
but he knew people in the group.
Yeah.
And eventually they talked him into it. It was a really stupid thing for him to do by virtue of the fact that you could have done that with a hacksaw yourself. Here's a hacksaw. Go do it yourself. Knock yourself out.
Right.
I don't really care. Leave me alone.
Right.
And actually, legally, from what I understand from later testimony, it really wasn't even a sawed-off shotgun.
Really.
It was like 16.5 inches or a quarter or something like that. But regardless, it was a setup. The guy got set up because they're trying to get information. They're basically trying to blackmail him into ratting on his friends.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm not in favor of the Ku Klux Klan. By the same token, leave the guy alone.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and they're trying to frame him, and they asked him to come to court. This is old memory. So basically, they tried to frame him. He went back up into the mountains where he lived and said, "Screw you," and stayed away.
Yeah.
All right.
So he refused to comply.
He
with
basically refused to comply. He knew it was a setup, and he didn't want anything to do with it, so he stayed up in the mountains with his family. He's got a teenage son and a wife and a baby, and the FBI surrounds his house. His son was walking down the street with his friend with a hunting dog, okay?
Yeah.
And the dog noticed something and started barking and going after somebody, at which point one of the federal agents shot the dog. And the kid shot back and turned around and ran towards they don't know what's going on.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? It could have been anybody attacking them, and they're teenage kids. If I got my story correct, it's good that I can be corrected so easily now. Before, people wouldn't question me because I'm a politician.
Right,
You
right.
know, I'm so honest.
That's
So,
right.
one of the kids got killed or shot at
Yeah.
that point, and the
Yeah.
other kid made it back to the house. So they're held up. Now they're held up in the house. Okay, and the FBI is trying to get them to come out. And this is where it gets really fugly, because the wife, Randy Weaver's wife, went near the door with to the front steps or something, with her baby in her arms, walked up to the front, and a sniper put a bullet right in her head.
Wow.
Now, anybody who knows anything about shooting knows that if you're a sniper, you're a paid sniper. That means, and I'm not a very good shot because my eyes aren't so good, but when I was shooting with a weapon that's accurate, at 100 yards, even with my bad eyes, I could easily put a bullet in the top of that can.
Yeah.
If you took that can upside like this, even though my eyes are horrible now, okay, I can put 8 bullets in the top of that can right now.
No kidding.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Okay. So a sniper is better than that.
Yeah.
Much better than me.
Yeah.
He's got a scope. When he's zoomed in, he can see the expression on her face.
Yeah.
And he put a bullet through that woman's head.
Wow.
That is not an accident. That is not like, they went in there was some confusion, there was a fight, Randy Weaver shot back, and the kid shot back, and there was some confusion, and people got killed. This is a sniper deliberately killing an American citizen.
Yeah.
Okay? Guess what happened to him?
Nothing.
This much.
Yeah.
Okay? So you can tell how angry I'm getting, and it's
Oh yeah.
20 something years ago.
Yeah.
It was just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
I don't care that the guy was a white supremacist, or even if he was or wasn't. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant information. The news media, if you watch the news media in conjunction with your government, they will always vilify whoever they're about to kill or who they do kill. Okay?
Yeah.
After this show, if I get shot on Main Street, they'll find child porn somewhere on my computer. Say, oh well, he was a child. We were arresting him for this. You know what I mean? They're going to make sure that every American citizen hates that person they killed or is going to kill.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, that's what they do.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that was one of the first events, and it was I don't know how many years later. I still remember Randy Weaver speaking to the Senate in a Senate hearing to Arlen Specter. And Arlen Specter kind of justifying was, well, see, you did finally get your day in court.
Huh.
Well, his wife's already got her brains blown out, but
Right.
and they government did settle.
Going back to that vilifying the suspects or the victims in this, at a trial, the government claimed that Weaver, Harris, and Messers, who was involved, were shot because they had quote unquote threatened to shoot a helicopter containing FBI officials. That was the government story. That's why they got shot. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So
So what did they have? A
it was
bazooka
a
or
coincidence
something?
that you had just mentioned that, and I was reading that section.
Yeah. This is how much bull they sling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now let's fast forward to was it 93, Waco, Texas.
Waco. Yep.
Waco, Texas. You got to pay attention to what they say. Okay. Waco, Texas. David Koresh used to be a member of the not the Branch Davidians, I know that. What is it? The Christian denomination. He basically was an offshoot of it. Anyway, very charismatic guy. He starts basically getting ready for Christ to return.
Yeah.
In the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas. He's got a lot of people from around the country with her. I think there's some English people in the compound, and so he's got this. He's a charismatic guy, maybe out of his mind, but so what? If that was illegal, I should have been locked up years ago.
Branch Davidian.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about where he studied. He studied with not the Seventh-day Adventists. The Seventh-day Adventists. That's it.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. But he wasn't. They're not affiliated.
Oh, okay.
But that's where he started, and then he went on to this, and maybe he was nuts. Sometimes people who are really nuts are very, very compelling.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I wish I could be that compelling. But at any rate, so he starts this compound, basically talking about the end times and Christ's return, which and as far as that goes, I agree with him. I think we're pretty close. At any rate, they believed he had some illegal firearms. Okay?
Yeah.
He used to go into town once a day, a couple times a week, anyway. Okay? They claimed on the news, this is what they said on the news, that David Koresh was having sexual relations with children and other people's children at the compound, and that's why they needed to do something.
Yeah, I remember
Am I
hearing
right?
that. Yeah, I remember.
It says when he was 22, Koresh had an affair with a 15-year-old girl who became pregnant. So that was early in life. Whether or not he continued
Okay, no,
that
no,
into
no,
the compound,
just
but
now think this out, okay? David Koresh, they're claiming that he's having an affair with little kids. What's the BA Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms have to do with that?
nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
How much? This?
0.
Zero. So if you have somebody who's having an affair with kids, is that who you send in as the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms?
No.
So why is that relevant? It is not relevant. You know why it's relevant? They have to vilify the person they're about to blow away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They can't go in there and torch the SOB and all of the people with him if he is a nice guy who has this charismatic movement and he's keeping to himself.
Right.
They can't do it.
That's not in itself illegal.
That's not in itself illegal.
Yeah.
I don't think there was ever any real evidence that he had actually any guns that were necessarily even illegal.
Yeah.
They claimed to, but those were all melted and they could make up anything they want after the fact.
Right. Right.
The fact of the matter is, they went into this compound, and if you take what they say legitimately, they went into a group of people that believed they were in the end times. It was a group of people who were preparing for the end times, and then you surround them with people and attack their compound.
Yeah.
If you were of anybody who is even marginally paranoid, and you saw people in black apparel coming towards your house with guns, what are you going to do? You've got your wife, your kids, and other people's wives and kids. What's your reaction going to be?
Yeah. You got to defend yourself.
You've got to defend yourself. So
Your
that's what
family,
they
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Okay? And so then they vilify him in the news for days and days and days on end. They played loud music and everything else. And they had screwed up so badly. I believe this is, I believe this is, I hope this is what happened. Because the other possibility is they had this intention all along. But I believe what happened is functionally they had messed up so badly. I think they were a bunch of bad F agents who thought they were going to go in and save the children, so to speak. And, they had watched too many damn Rambo movies and it backfired.
Yeah.
Okay? At which point, they've got a lot of evidence against them.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with evidence? You get rid of it. How do you get rid of it? You burn it. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what happened in Waco, Texas. If you look at the tanks came in, okay? And in front of the tanks, you see flames. On the news, they said that David Koresh and his followers lit that place on fire.
Mm-hmm.
They did not. The government lit that on fire. Your United States government torched those people in Waco, Texas. Some of them were women and children in an area. I think they died of smoke inhalation. It was 100 or something.
Yeah, makes sense.
How many
yeah.
people died?
That sounds right.
I'm just looking to see. It talks about the rate. 54 other adults and 28 children.
Oh, well, it's close to 100. Yeah.
Yeah.
Total. Yeah.
So your government torched those kids.
Yeah.
Okay? Who went to court for it?
Nobody.
Who went to jail for it? Did Janet Reno?
No. I remember she took a lot of criticism for
So
it,
what?
But with no consequences, and she didn't have to resign or anything.
She's calling the shots.
Yeah.
She torched her agency that she was in charge of, torched little kids on United States soil for what? Because they think he had an affair with a little kid? No, that's no way that's true.
Right.
There's absolutely the fact that if they were really just trying to find out what was going on in there, anytime that guy went into town, they could have grabbed him.
Right. That's true.
Dave, we got to talk to you.
That's true. Yeah.
Cuff him and stuff him and talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
and then start getting information, try to find out what's going on. Was that a BATF thing? Absolutely not. Got nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
If he's messing around with little kids, I think he should be shot.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the same token, he never was tried because they killed him first.
Right. Right.
You know, I'm just reading it. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, and I know it's not the most reliable source, but it does say does cite both theories that it was the
No,
Koresh
that-
and his followers, but it says
Look further because you
Yep.
will see the FBI went as far as 4 or 5 years later testifying before Congress. Oh yes, there was a mix-up between the smoke grenades and the
yeah.
what does it say?
It says, as well in the documentary, it discussed the documentary Waco, the Rules of Engagement, which argues that the fire was deliberately set when the FBI fired an incendiary device into the building after loading it with CS gas.
Right. Okay, now
So-
the FBI came before Congress and said, yes, we did use incendiary device. It was a mistake. Tell me, you get phone calls?
No. No.
Okay,
not-
well, you tell you get email or whatever. Tell me anybody
Oh.
in the military.
Actually, I can
I'm not a
open-
military guy. I don't know, but as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know, if you have an incendiary device, it is marked clearly. Okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
One type of ordnance is completely marked differently than another type of ordnance. I know that just from bullets. You have green tip bullets, you have red tip bullets, white tip bullets, because they have different applications. It's clearly marked. They planned it. It wasn't like, it was like I said the other analogy before, it was a firefight and people didn't, it was confusion.
Right.
It wasn't like that. They went up with tanks, they were prepared for it, and they went in. Though that ordinance was clearly marked, they knew exactly what they were doing, they were getting rid of evidence. If they weren't getting rid of evidence, okay, then those fire trucks would have showed up in seconds
Right.
and put that fire. How long did that burn? Long enough to get rid of any evidence that was on that.
I was
damn
going to say it
property.
burned a long time from what I remember. I actually just opened. Oh, why is that? Why is it doing that?
Did you just turn your volume up?
Sorry, I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just
no,
opened Skype because I always forget to do that. So if anyone does want to contact us on the air, they can log into Skype,
Okay.
and IPM Nation is the ID.
So fundamentally, those two events, you look at them objectively, and you can't help distrust the government.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I'll give you some other information that I bet you nobody knows.
Really? Okay.
Did you know that when we went into Gulf War I, we went in to save the Kuwaitis because Iraq had gone in and attacked Kuwait.
Yeah, that's what we were told.
That's
yeah.
what we were told. And this is one I'm sure you may know. The first part is one of the testimonies before Congress was a young Kuwaiti woman who came in crying, tears rolling down her eyes about the Iraqis coming in and even taking babies out of incubators, leaving them on the floor and taking the incubators back to Baghdad.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know that was a total load of bull. She was a Kuwaiti ambassador's kid.
Wow.
That was absolutely a lie. That never happened.
Wow.
Now the other thing is they went into Kuwait. Do you know why Saddam went into Kuwait? Kuwait was taking, if you look at their landmass, they had their border, was drilling down in an angle and sucking the oil out from under
Okay.
Iraq.
Yeah.
That's what you don't know.
Yeah.
Okay? This is, and did your government tell you that? We have to go in there to save the babies because they're out of the incubators. This is how mean and evil Saddam
Right,
is.
right.
You see what I mean? It is a typical that they vilify whoever they're going to attack.
Right.
They have to make them out to be evil.
Well, and
Not just we don't agree with them and we're trying to defend our friend.
Right.
They have to be freaking evil incarnate
Mm-hmm.
to be able to do it. That's what they did to Randy Weaver. That's what they did to David Koresh. That's what they did to Saddam. Now, I don't think Saddam was a great guy.
no.
Okay, I'm not trying to defend that he's a wonderful human being. But
But
we
he
had no right going in there.
right. But he had been our friend at one point
He was
in
our
the past, or
Mhm.
an
There was
ally.
another one that, and I've never heard this reported on, but if you remember the beginning of the war, I think there's a few variables that are very troubling. Saddam said that was it Madeleine Albright? Was that the
Oh, it was. I know who you're talking
no,
about.
who was it?
April Glaspie, who
What?
told him
No,
that.
she went and negotiated with Saddam before the war.
Yeah, that was April Glaspie.
Was that?
She told him that your border disputes are of no concern to us.
She did.
Yeah.
She said that. He thought she was telling the truth.
Right.
When we amassed troops, if he really believed that we were going to attack, what would you do? Strategically, you know that if you know that we're going to attack, you are going to try to knock the crap out of us before we get on land.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going to wait until we have 500,000 men sitting there with equipment and stuff and attack. He never believed we would attack.
Right. Yeah,
He
we told him we
prepared
wouldn't.
for it,
Right.
but he thought it was just propaganda.
So, do you think it was intentional? April Glaspie's message to him. Do you
I think it was
part
deliberate.
Part of the setup.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it was a setup. The whole thing was a setup. Try to start judging. Try to start judging history not by what you're told, but by the results of the event.
Yeah.
Okay, because the results of the event are far more accurate as to what actually happened.
Yeah.
I'll give you another example: is the Iraq-Iran war.
Yeah.
Supposedly, that was a dispute going back between Iraq and Iran for many, many
That
generations.
went a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Really.
No, I don't believe that at all. I don't even know any history about it. I don't have to. Well, I should have to, but because I can speak and I don't, my guess is that was instigated by either the English or the Americans. Why? Because the Russians get to try out a whole bunch of stuff with Iran, so they get to sell a shitload of guns and stuff like that to Iran. America and France gain because they get to sell a bunch of stuff to Iraq, to Saddam. And what was just happening just before the war? Just before the war, the OPEC had almost a stranglehold on the world's oil supply. What happened after the war? Almost completely lost that stranglehold because Iraq and Iran had to sell oil to fund their war.
It makes sense.
Yep.
So who started that?
People in desperate need of oil, or
People
not
in
even in
desperate
Right.
need.
Not even that desperate need.
Yeah. Well, because because that would have been when Saddam was our friend, basically.
He's our best friend that was
Right.
stabbed in the back.
Well, we did that, and just like with Osama bin Laden and the Mujahideen in Afghanistan, when we armed them in the 80s.
Yep.
And then
Because they were fighting Russia.
right, exactly, proxy war.
Right.
We were arming them while they were fighting the Russians.
Yep.
My enemy's enemy is my friend. Yeah.
Yeah. My enema is my friend. So, so anyway, it was
that too.
Yeah.
and the way I believe the way I look at things is absolutely fundamentally constitutional. If you look, if people haven't really paid attention, why do we have 3 branches of government? What would be most efficient?
What would be most efficient?
Yes.
Well, most efficient would be a dictatorship.
Correct. So absolutely the most efficient. When you hear the news people on the news, well, these people in Washington need to get along. It's terrible. They're fighting all the time. Well, the most efficient thing is a dictatorship.
Right.
So you have to ask them, is that what you want?
Of course not.
If you want them to get along, if your whole thing is, they have to get along to get things done for America and for the people. Well, if they're getting along, you're losing.
Right.
So a dictatorship, if you really want things to go smoothly, is a dictatorship.
Yeah.
Okay?
Bush even said that once. I mean, he was smirking when he said it. He was kidding, but I remember him saying that once. That dictatorship would be easier.
It'll be a lot easier.
Yeah.
I think that's actually where we're headed. Maybe not specifically a dictatorship, but anyway. So that's fundamentally the reason you have 3 branches of government is so that they're always fighting with each other and not screwing you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have it's kind of a balance, check
It's
and
a
balance.
balance. One's fighting with the other one's fighting with this one, that one's fighting with this one. So the probability of them being able to control more and more or take more and more power is less and less. It's taken 200 years for them to completely supersede their authority as a federal government. and that's why they can kill people in Waco, Texas, or blow somebody's brains out in Idaho with impunity.
Yeah.
They have too much power.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the reason I got involved in politics is I've been watching this, and then during the '80s, I saw an absolute profound assault on the Second Amendment. Okay, the Second Amendment. The next time you're talking to a politician, okay, and he's new or they're running for office, and they say, you ask him, well, what do you think about the Second Amendment? I'm a firm, proponent of the Second Amendment. I used to go hunting when I was a kid.
who did say it? Somebody.
Romney said that.
Yeah, you're right. Romney did say that.
Okay,
Yeah.
when you hear a politician say that, they are full of crap.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, you can hunt with a stick.
Sure. Yeah, you can hunt with a bow and arrow. Yeah.
Yeah, hunting has absolutely nothing to do with the Second Amendment.
Right.
It is not an excuse for the Second Amendment. What's the Second Amendment for?
Well, so that we can defend ourselves against an oppressive government.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but how many kids know that?
With the way the schools are now, probably none.
Not many. No. Your fundamental right to bear arms is to maintain the balance of power in the hands of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
Self-defense, okay, yes, that's true too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But fundamentally, you can have a baseball bat for that.
Right.
The fundamental reason, the absolute reason, is so that we as American citizens always have the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
And this is old information, so I think probably '92 I learned this one, that if you just look at hunting licenses in the state of Pennsylvania, at that time it was the third largest standing army in the world.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Only I think the only ones bigger than that as far as numbers was China and Russia.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah.
So that was '92.
Wow.
Maybe it was earlier than that.
Wow.
So fundamentally, a well-armed citizenship can't be taken over by the government easily.
Right.
We can now, not because we're not armed, we can now because people are too damn fat and happy. And if the government actually started intruding profoundly on your constitutional rights, most people would turn up the volume on their football game and ignore it.
Yeah, or keeping up with the Kardashians or whatever crap people are watching. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not this, intellectual stuff like this.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, so anyway, so I noticed that. You noticed on the news they would constantly talk, every time they talked about the guns, you'd hear newscasters say, what do you need a gun like that to go hunting for?
Mm-hmm.
I could have heard that, I don't know, dozens and dozens of times by, the national news people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Why do you need those guns to go hunting?
Yeah, the assault weapons, right?
Right, exactly. That was during the assault weapon ban.
Yeah.
And what's hunting got to do with it? They never said that.
Right.
National Propaganda Radio, when the United States Supreme Court recently said that the ban on handguns or guns in Washington, D.C. was unconstitutional. National Propaganda Radio went around town, and you have to understand, if people don't understand the news, this is what they do. They will go to as many people as they need to go to get the response they want to forward the agenda they have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They could have gone to 20 people and said, yeah, this is great, but that's not who's going to make it on the damn news that night.
Mm-hmm.
They
Right.
found two women and go, oh, my babies are going to get killed. Okay?
Right.
You had a constitutional decision handed down by one of the few good ones, down by the United States Supreme Court, and they're interviewing people about, oh, my babies.
Right.
Why aren't they talking about the issue?
Right.
Because they lost the issue. They can't win on the issue.
Right.
The only way they can win is on the emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way they can win on the emotion is, oh, my babies are going to get killed.
Yeah.
Which is a total crock, especially in D.C., because in D.C., the reason the babies get killed is most of them grow up without fathers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And little boys without fathers are dangerous little creatures.
Right.
And that's what's going on. It's got nothing to do with black, poverty, anything else. No fathers. Little boys get a little bit nutty.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a lot of nutty kids all together in one little area. A lot of really bad things happen. But they won't talk about that.
Right.
No, they're going to blame it on poverty and racism and all this other stuff, and whitey's keeping the black man down. And even if you listen to actually educated people, like Bill Cosby and stuff like that, they'll tell you it's fatherlessness.
Yeah, Cosby has actually said a lot about that over the years.
They attack him like
They
he's
do.
some sort of racist.
They treat him like he's a traitor.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But he's telling the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolute truth. So anyway, I watched this gun debate go on. I knew, and I think that's one of the important things as you go through your life, you have to be grounded.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know what the truth is to begin with so that you can judge it accordingly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you have to understand your Constitution and why. Because once you understand your Constitution and why, then you can say when somebody like National Propaganda Radio comes on and tells you this, starts slinging bull, you go, wait a second, that ain't right. I know what the truth is. This is the truth. This is what the Founding Fathers did.
Right.
This is why they did it.
Yeah.
What are they talking about? And these aren't uneducated. They're not uneducated people. It's not like they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They're deliberately misleading you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got involved in the Second Amendment, and that started opening my eyes. Once I understood what its purpose was and understood what was going on, I started getting angrier and angrier and angrier.
Yeah.
And in 2000, a state rep from Ware was retiring for medical reasons, and the only person in town that was going to run for that office was somebody who was in favor of an income tax. A nice guy.
Really.
He is really a nice person. Okay.
Sure.
I'm not one of those people that think that everybody that disagrees with me is evil.
Right.
Okay. I just disagree with him.
Right.
And so he's a nice guy. He wanted an income tax or a sales tax. He was kind of sketchy on the Second Amendment and some other things. And
was he a Democrat? I assume
he was going to run as an independent because he knew he couldn't win as a Democrat.
Okay. Yeah.
But he's a local vicar at the church and knew a lot of people in town, so his name recognition was much greater than mine. And so fundamentally in life, you have two choices. You can sit back and take it, or you can fight for what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
The one quote in my life that keeps ringing through my ears all the time is, "All is necessary for evil to succeed is good men do nothing."
Yes.
That was Edmund Burke.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's English, he was okay.
Some of them are all right.
Yeah, a couple. I don't think there's that many more than that. But so anyway, and so it's put up or shut up. Okay, you've been whining about stuff for years.
Right.
Here's an opportunity to run for office. What do I have to sacrifice? Well, I'll have to lose all my overtime for the first 6 months of the year. Because the machinists, that's where they make their money.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have to put in 2 days of work. I'm going to have to work weekends and nights to make up for it.
Yeah.
And you think about that sacrifice.
It's a lot.
And then think about the kids who we put into war who sacrifice everything.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't seem like that much.
Right. Yeah.
So I ran for office. I got scared to hell when I won.
Yeah.
I really did. I was
Did
like,
you?
oh,
Yeah.
crap. Now, I
Felt
didn't expect to
overwhelmed.
win.
Really.
I figured, okay, I got to do the right thing. This is the right thing. I did, put in the footwork,
Mhm.
and then I won. I go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ruh-roh.
Did you enjoy the process of running? Did you enjoy the campaigning and whatnot? That
It's
aspect of
tedious.
it?
It's really tedious, and even on the town level, it's still pretty brutal because you have to get signs up. You have to find people that let you put signs up.
Sure.
Because most people, they talk to a politician, they don't even want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Okay, politicians have such a deservedly bad rap that you call up, I'm state representative, click.
No kidding.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because they don't know me.
Right.
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 Not really.
Right.
And they've been lied to. You watch the people that run for federal office in this state. They're so full of crap. I mean,
Yeah.
I think Gunter's good.
You
I think
like
he's
him,
a
yeah.
straight shooter.
Yeah.
Bass, I think, is just. I don't trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Charlie Bass.
Charlie Bass. I shouldn't say that I'm Republican, but I just don't. If I had the money, I'd run against him.
Yeah.
So you put up or shut up in life, you know.
Yeah.
If you're gonna whine about it, do something about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Well
that's
said.
what I was doing all the time. And you know, it's if more people who really cared and understood the Constitution got up and fought for it, we wouldn't be in this mess to begin with.
Hmm.
We are very close and on the threshold to becoming a socialist country. Did you vote for that?
Well, I
No.
think we both voted for Obama.
Maybe
if that's what you mean.
inadvertently.
Yeah, inadvertently. And Obama is a good example of what Obama is a very good example of what you should watch out for a politician. If you he did deliberately not vote on a lot of things.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, it wasn't because he wasn't there. It wasn't because he was conflicted or anything. He deliberately didn't vote on many issues when he was in Illinois and when he was in the federal government. Why? Because the more issues, this is something the voters really need to understand.
Hmm.
Okay, it's got to be crystal clear, because this is how they get you. This is how the media gets you. I'm running against Matt. Okay, Matt says, I just want, we got to restore, hope and change in Washington and this, all these vague terms. No record.
Right.
Okay. Then you run against, say me, and I say, well, I'm pro life. Guess how many voters I just lost?
Half.
20% of those people that just heard that, 20% of the viewers of this program just said, I will never vote for him.
Right.
He's pro-life. I am pro-Second Amendment. 10%, I just lost 10%.
Yeah.
Then I keep going down the list.
Right.
Eventually, I have a constituency of me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because
Yeah.
people are so used to compartmentalizing that they have to decide on somebody, and they got to do it now because they don't want to spend a lot of time actually looking at the candidate.
Right.
So they say, okay, well, he's pro-life, he's pro-gun, he's opposed to same-sex marriage. That's it. He's too conservative. I'm not voting for him.
Right.
Instead of looking at the character.
Right. Well, this is why I felt during the 2008 campaign.
In summary,
Yeah.
The vaguer you are, the easy. If you're a good politician, if you're positive and vague, you will get in.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure. Well, I felt that very much during the 2008 campaign. I did vote for Obama because ultimately, as it is every 4 years for me in the presidential election, I vote for whoever I think is the lesser
You
of
hate
two evils.
least.
Exactly. But I did notice that the vagueness that you spoke about with Obama. It's like I noticed that too, and it sort of allowed people to project onto him whatever it was they wanted.
Yeah.
I actually feel that way about Romney too, but I feel like he goes about it in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Romney, instead of being vague, he's been specific about everything, but just all over, specific on opposite ends on every issue at different times.
Yeah.
Which also allows you to project, because if you're a conservative, you can look at Romney and project onto him, oh, he used to be moderate, but now he's come around to my way of thinking as a conservative. Now he's a true blue conservative, so I can vote for him.
True red.
True red, yeah.
True red.
But if you're a moderate or a liberal, you can also project onto him and you can say, oh no, I get it. He's just pretending to be a conservative to get the Republican nomination, but he's really, the way he was in Massachusetts, that's how he really is. So I'm comfortable with him. So it's kind of the same thing where you can project onto him whatever you want. It's just sort of the opposite of how it is with Obama. It's that vagueness that you talked about,
Right.
where he really went out of his way to not say much. Obama really didn't say much outside of hope and change.
Mm.
No specifics. Thanks, Glenn. But Romney, of course, all the flip-flopping and whatnot. So you can project onto Romney whatever you want as well.
I didn't vote for him.
Yeah. In the primary? Well, you went
Yeah, I went with Santorum.
Santorum, yeah.
Because if you looked at Santorum, I don't think he's as strong in the Second Amendment as I am, but fundamentally he understood the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Fundamentally, because really that's what you want in a politician, is somebody who understands the Constitution.
Right.
If they understand and believe in the Constitution as it was intended, everything else will fall into place.
Yeah.
So instead of asking your people that are running for office, instead of asking them, how do they feel about this specific issue? Start trying to find out why.
Yeah.
You know, if you got any politician comes up to you and you ask them, well, what do you think about the Second Amendment? And they say they went hunting when they were a kid, shoot them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't mean that literally, but
No.
I mean that figuratively with a real gun.
Right. Yes.
Right. Like this one.
Oh, I was gonna say, don't you?
Yeah. See, this is what you should always carry. And I'll tell you why. Yeah, see if I can get the jack back. See, there's nothing up my
This is
sleeve.
the first on the show, by the way.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
the reason this will actually stop a bear attack.
Really? And we do have bears in New Hampshire,
Right.
in the North Country.
What you
especially.
always do is you have somebody with you,
Mhm.
you know, and like I go, say, walk with Matt in the woods. A bear starts getting aggressive. I take this out, I point it at Matt, and I shoot him right in the leg.
It's got
So
a
he goes after.
Well, it
The
smells
injury.
of blood, and
Yeah.
you can outrun him now.
yeah. That's smart.
It's just like when swimming with
Um,
sharks. It doesn't matter how fast you swim, as long as you're faster than your friends.
Yeah, this is actually
Oh.
really good
Yeah, I
for
did
that.
see the laser sight on that.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. That's
I don't know
pretty
if they
cool.
can do that. Can I do that on the camera? Or what does that do?
I don't know.
Let's
It
see if it
probably,
blows it up. Yeah, it probably blows it up.
Did I? Oh, I closed that window because it was
But
making
anyway.
noise. But
So always carry a gun so you can shoot your friends in case of a bear attack.
Yes, well, I think that's wise. In fact, I think you should have a show that offers safety tips, kind of like
Yes,
like
yes,
Smokey the
that
Bear used to do the only
Yes,
you can prevent
exactly.
forest
It would be
fires.
the same exact thing except really bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Maybe
yes.
like an advice show.
an advice show.
Yeah.
That is good.
What type of gun is that?
This is made by Sturm Ruger. It's a 380. It's the reason I carry this is it's like 11 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not that powerful. It's like a 22 on steroids.
Okay.
In effect, it's not really that powerful. It's got a 380. See if I get the. I took the bullets out before the show, so that
Safety precaution.
Yeah, yeah.
even though I'm a freaking nutcase, I'm not quite that bad. Let's see. This is the same caliber as a 9mm.
Okay.
What caliber means is diameter. Okay, so the bullet is 355 thousandths in diameter, but it's called it's a short version of it.
Okay.
And I think this is actually first. I think ACP automatic Colt pistol is three. So would have been designed by Colt. Browning, I think.
Okay.
John Browning was a genius. That guy designed a lot of stuff.
Did he?
If you ever want to look at, if you ever get into guns, John Browning's a man.
Hmm.
Anyway, so that was designed, I think, probably around the late 1800s, early 1900s. It was considered at the time one of the most powerful handguns in the world, so to speak. But 380 is kind of a mild gun, but the fact of the matter is a gun that's with you all the time is much better than a really powerful gun that you don't take with you because it's too heavy and bulky.
Right, right.
So this is with me almost 90-something% of the time.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's much better than the 9mm or 357 Magnum
Yeah.
that I could carry.
Right.
But it's so heavy, it's like
Yeah.
you know,
you'd be more
pulling
trouble
your
than it's
pants
worth,
down.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
when you're macho kind of guy like me, it's probably a good thing to attract the babes. But I'm married, so I shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
good
That's
that
why I keep the smaller piece.
yeah.
Yeah.
And and it's good that you have that restraint.
Yeah,
You know, not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of the gals, say, "Hey, is that a pistol in your pocket? Or you just happy to see me?" And I said, "Well, yeah."
That is yeah. I myself am very and we'll have to wrap up in a couple minutes, but that's actually one of the things, because anyone who's paid attention to this show for a long time knows sort of my
Is there anybody
My-
that's psychotic?
history. I don't know. Oh, him. He pays attention.
I do.
I think Glenn does too.
Um,
But I'm an independent. I'm a former Democrat, and one of the things that drove me out of the Democratic Party was I do hold some conservative positions, and the party kept getting too liberal for me, so I had to leave. But one of the conservative positions I've always held is I'm very pro Second Amendment. And there definitely is an element, liberals, a lot of liberals are very, pro gun control. I think that, having grown up in New Hampshire, and maybe people outside of a place like New Hampshire have trouble understanding this, but New Hampshire, I mean, we're heavily armed. We're armed to the teeth in this state. It's also extremely safe here. So that adage, an armed society is a polite society, I think that's 100% true. And I think New Hampshire is proof of that.
Yeah.
We for whatever reason, we own a lot of guns here. We drink a lot of beer. And
Well, I don't drink.
No.
Yeah. Did we tell? Did I?
You haven't said it on this show.
I'm allergic to it.
Why is that, Gary?
I break out in handcuffs.
It's been known to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad.
So
I start hugging telephone poles, or
I had a buddy of mine do that. I still
Really?
remember when I was like 17. We're walking home one of the times I was sober and he was wicked drunk. He's walking along, he's hugging trees. Oh, trees love me, nobody else loves me.
I think the last telephone pole I hugged must have rejected me because I crashed my car into it.
I was gonna say,
no way.
I was gonna say you hugged
Yeah.
it with the front of your car, didn't you?
Yeah.
You're supposed to use your arms.
Yeah.
As-
I
as
think
a-
you were a little bit aggressive
I
there.
think so.
I mean,
You don't love me.
Like you didn't even try to buy dinner first or something. You went right into it, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I rammed it
Wow.
right in.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Well,
Jeez.
you learned your lesson though,
I
didn't you?
did.
Next
yeah.
time-
as of
next-
this week, I now officially own that pole.
Next time, use Vaseline.
That's
yeah,
right. Yes.
yeah.
Oh, see, I'm telling you, you need an advice show.
I do.
Next
I do.
time
There's
use
a lot of
Vaseline,
advice. I was inventing stuff today on the show today.
Yeah,
At
he's an
Rock Paper
inventor.
Hand Grenades.
Good
Yeah.
advice with Gary Hopper.
Yes.
That's a good title. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, this has been really cool, Gary. Thanks so much for coming on tonight, and you're welcome back anytime.
Do you mean that? Or are you just saying that until I get out of the room and then you say, "Wow, that guy's freaking nuts"?
I'd say he's.
I already knew
two-faced,
you were
but I
nuts. That's
never-
why I invited you.
Oh,
on.
all right, all right.
I'd say he's two-faced, but I never see him wear the other face. So
Right.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he's being serious.
Yeah,
Oh.
I am.
That's really
No,
weird.
this has been great and very enlightening. So thank you.
Matt,
and,
you're all right.
and what do we have? Do you know what we have coming up next week on Rock Paper Hand Grenades?
Phil Gracio, whatever his name. He's smoking grass or something. I don't know.
Okay, is that what
He's running for state senate against John Heichel.
Oh, very good. Oh, John never made it back. Hopefully, we'll have him on soon. I know.
Yeah. Well, his wife's girlfriend's dad's. That's why he was walking away. I said, "Dude, you should go home."
Yeah.
But anyway, so see that? I am very conscientious. He walked over there towards the front of that barrel. I pointed at that wall.
Yeah, that's
Even though
good.
there
Very
is
safe.
nothing in that chamber,
Yeah,
I know there's nothing in that chamber. You always treat them like they're loaded.
absolutely. Plus, you want to be careful around Glenn because he'll lurch for it. He's crazy.
Yeah.
And what's that?
I have my own gun.
You do, yes. And Chris Rose, as always, thank you very much for
Hey,
being here.
Chris,
pleasure.
nice meeting you.
Gary, pleasure to meet you as well.
And thank you, Glenn R.J. Willett. Do you have anything to say before we wrap up? 'Cause
See you on Friday, 8 p.m. on QCE News and IPN Nation.
yes, we'll let it large gone global. Friday nights at 8 p.m.
Oh,
Eastern.
nice.
We need to remember the
Large
Eastern.
Gone crazy.
That's right.
Gone wild.
All right, so that'll do it for tonight. So now I have to stretch out that'll do it for tonight till Glenn gets to the because he
I
has
taught
to,
my- I was trying to teach
That'll
my
do.
teach my grandson, 6-year-old, to go.